Fauth-Edwards, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for CarDon Associates. And I'm just glad you're with us today for the CarDon Resource Hub. And today we have Todd Howard with us from Halo Senior Solutions. And I'm going to have him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about their services that they provide.
Sure. Nice to be with you, Kendra. My name's Todd Howard. I'm with Halo Senior Solutions and the founder and CEO. Halo provides management oversight services for seniors and their family when they're making a transition, typically from home to community. And we do that by overseeing every aspect of the move, much like a wedding planner oversees an event. That's the way we oversee the move for a senior.
I love it. I love the analogy of the wedding planner, but it's not just about a community. You kind of take over a lot of different parts of that process. And I know it's such a value for the families and the seniors themselves. So will you dig into that a little bit and kind of share very specifically what you do for people?
Sure. The first thing we do is assign what we call a Halo Angel to the client. Their sole purpose is to bring peace to that client and family by spinning all the plates. We use an analogy from the old variety show hours where you had a plate spinner. And if you think in terms of all the different chores that have to be done, the move, the sale of the house, the possessions, the communication, the calendaring, financial, legal, if you think of all of those as plates, they really all do have to be spun at the same time. You don't get the luxury of just spinning one. And so the Halo Angel's job is to attack and spin all of those plates so that that burden doesn't fall on the family or the adult kids. And so we do that by going through an assessment and analysis to determine what your priorities and preferences are. And then after we do that, that angel handholds the client without time constraints. So that's important, whether you're moving into independent living and this might take a while, or whether you're moving into a more urgent situation, there's no time constraint. But after that assessment is done, we provide a custom solution for the family. So it's step 1, step 2, step 3. And then that angel oversees and manages that process, dealing with vendors. We use time-trusted vendors that we've worked with for years, negotiate preferential space and discounts. And our job is to handhold them all the way through the transition plus 10 days to make sure we're able to put a bow on it and everything and everyone is happy and healthy.
I know every situation and family dynamic and everyone's just their overall situation is different. At what point should a client, a family member, a senior reach out to you? Is it sometimes too early to reach out or just right? Or at what point in this journey does it really make sense to reach out to Halo?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is never early enough is what we've found. When a family gets hit with a situation and they know that stuff's coming, their tendency is to usually dive in and start doing some things more out of comfort or a way to manage their own emotions. And usually they almost to a person say, boy, I wish I would have called you 2 months earlier because we already did this, this, and this. So because our price structure and our service structure is set up with no time constraints, we don't want the client to ever feel rushed or feel like, well, I'll call you later when I'm closer to the move. So you can't call too early, even if it's just so we can start getting our head around all of your situations so that we can make some suggestions early on that start alleviating some of that stress earlier. And because so many of the services change and so many of the vendors change, inevitably we can help the client with things they didn't even know existed.
I know a lot of our clients, when they've used your services, they rave about the angel. So will you share a little bit about what that is and what that type of service? And I think it's just because of that touch point and how important it is.
Yeah, so we stumbled onto this angel almost by accident, in the sense that internally, we always assigned an internal person to that family, and that was the hand holder. And so we thought, well, how do we take this up a notch? So we trained the Halo Angels in 5 key areas. I won't go to them in detail, but a few of them, suffice to say, are: 1, experience with, either personally or professionally, a senior transition; 2, a real estate kind of immersion, so they understand the concepts that are going to survive around that. Secondly, some of the financial aspects around Medicaid, if that's going to be applicable. Of course, a servant's heart. And so they're trained and schooled in all of the things that are going to, that they're going to have to touch with that family. And while it's not all inclusive, because we're always learning something, we find that it's usually that adult daughter who already did this once or twice with the family and said, man, I was really good at that. It was heartfelt, and I kind of got geeked out by doing it. And they like a checklist. And we just thought, boy, there's a lot of that type of adult. For every 10 that hated it and maybe dreaded it, there's one of them that's like, gosh, I wish I could do that for a living, because it just filled my joy cup. So that's what the Halo Angel does.
When you're dealing with clients, do you see a trend or a pattern of specific pitfalls that you see those common things amongst that with families?
Pitfalls, more than anything, is probably the resistance to ask for help. That's probably the number one. Whether it's that I can do it, I'm independent, or whether I don't want to be a burden to the kids, inevitably their lack of asking for help just starts snowballing, catapulting the effects and the delays of everything, again, because they don't realize how many plates are going to have to be spun. And so because they typically start creating mini fires for themselves. And these were all fires that were totally unavoidable. So I would say the biggest one is just their reluctance to ask for help. Maybe that's human nature, maybe it's our independence, but that one gets them into trouble more than anything.
Well, thanks. I know that what you do and the services you provide are such a value add. And that's one of the things I love most about this resource hub, is just to really educate the community on all of these resources that are available to people to really help them during really difficult and stressful times. So I really appreciate your time today, Todd. And thank you for all that you do.
Well, we appreciate it. And we appreciate being a part of the resource hub. So thank you very much.